Hello, and welcome to Cognito English, where we help you achieve fluency through knowledge. Imagine a contemporary Christmas. We see bright lights, warm colors, and streets full of music. Families meet for dinner, children wait for gifts, and people enjoy this peaceful season. It is easy to imagine Christmas as a happy and safe holiday. For many of us, it feels natural to celebrate it every year. Christmas seems like a tradition that has always been part of our lives. But history tells a very different story. What if I told you that Christmas was once forbidden in parts of America? Yes, this bright and cheerful holiday was, at one time, treated like a dangerous event. Imagine people being told they could not gather, could not sing, and could not even hold a small assembly on December 25th. Imagine shop owners being ordered to keep their doors open even when everyone else wanted a day of rest. It sounds strange to us today, but it was a real part of American history. This surprising fact makes us ask an important question. Why would anyone want to ban Christmas? Why would a holiday that we connect with family, kindness, and comfort become a target of strict rules? To understand this, we need to look back at the early days of the holiday and explore where some of these ideas originated. When we look at the past, we discover that Christmas did not always look the way it looks today. In this video, we will explore the unexpected history behind America's most banned holiday. We will learn how early celebrations were very different from the ones we know now. We will see how some leaders felt threatened by these celebrations and tried to control them through laws and punishments. And we will discover how Christmas disappeared for a time, only to return later in a completely new form. So, get ready for a story that challenges what we imagine about this holiday. A story about culture, authority, and change. Welcome to the strange and fascinating journey of the Christmas ban. Let's begin. To understand why Christmas became a problem, we need to look at its early history. Long before the quiet family holiday, we imagine today Christmas looked very different. In the past, winter festivals were loud, crowded, and sometimes wild. Many of these celebrations came from old Roman customs. People enjoyed large meals, music, dancing, and long nights of drinking. These events often continued until morning, and the behavior could be excessive. Some communities accepted this as winter fun, but others began to worry about it. One group that strongly disliked these celebrations was the Puritans. A Puritan believed in strict morality and simple living. They wanted a society with clear rules, discipline, and self-control. When Puritans looked at early Christmas, they did not see joy or faith. Instead, they saw disorder. They believed the holiday had a pagan origin, and they disliked anything that seemed pagan. To them, a celebration connected to dancing. Drinking and loud crowds could not be a true Christian event. Because of this, they felt deep disapproval toward the holiday. Puritans also believed that people should spend time in prayer, not in parties. They worried that excessive celebrations would weaken the community. In their view, too much music, alcohol, or noise was a sign of moral failure. They also disliked the idea of people taking a full day off for what they saw as unnecessary fun. As their influence grew in England and in the American colonies, their disapproval became stronger. Many Puritan leaders began to speak openly against Christmas. Another reason the Puritans hated Christmas was social control. During winter festivals, people often challenged authority. Some groups dressed in costumes, visited rich homes, and demanded food or gifts. This old custom made Puritan leaders feel uncomfortable because it changed the usual power structure. They believed such customs encouraged disrespect and disorder. To the Puritans, Christmas was not a peaceful day. It was a day filled with danger, waste, and bad behavior. For them, true faith required calm, discipline, and focus. They believed that removing Christmas would help protect the community. With this mindset, the idea of banning the holiday did not seem extreme to them. It felt like the right moral choice. This strong disapproval set the stage for what happened next. With enough power and authority, Puritan leaders began preparing to take action. Their beliefs and fears would soon shape the laws of both England and the American colonies. The conflict between celebration and morality was about to become a legal battle, and Christmas was at the center of it. By the mid 1600s, the Puritans had enough authority to turn their beliefs into real laws. What began as moral disapproval slowly became official action. In both England and the Massachusetts colony, leaders decided that Christmas was not only unnecessary, but also dangerous for public order. They believed the only way to protect society was to create strict legislation that would prohibit the holiday completely. The law was clear: Christmas celebrations were banned. No decorations, no singing, no gatherings, and no special meals. Shops were ordered to stay open on December 25th to show that this was a normal working day, not a holiday. Anyone who refused to work risked receiving a fine. People could even be questioned if they looked too cheerful or if their homes seemed too festive. For Puritan leaders, enforcing the ban was a sign of responsibility and power. They wanted to show that their authority could shape the behavior of the entire community. In Boston, officers walked through the streets to enforce the rules. If they heard music or saw people gather for a meal, they had the right to stop the assembly. A simple action such as hanging a small decoration could lead to punishment. The purpose of this enforcement was not only to prevent celebrations, but also to send a message. Christmas was prohibited and obedience to the law was expected. Many families felt nervous, unsure of how much attention they might receive from the authorities. For ordinary people, the ban created confusion and fear. Some had grown up with familiar customs and found it difficult to give them up. Others secretly celebrated in their homes, hoping that officers would not notice the noise or the smell of special food. Small groups sometimes met in private, whispering songs instead of singing proudly. Even though the holiday had been banned, the desire to celebrate did not disappear. This quiet resistance made the ban even harder to enforce. The Puritan government believed the legislation supported social order, but the effect was often the opposite. People felt frustrated, restricted, and sometimes angry. The ban created tension between leaders and citizens. Some communities followed the rules carefully, while others ignored them whenever they felt safe. The more the ban was enforced, the more people questioned whether such strict control was truly necessary. Looking back, the Christmas ban seems almost unbelievable. Today, it is difficult to imagine a world where a joyful holiday becomes a legal problem. But at that time, the Puritans saw the ban as a moral duty. They believed the holiday threatened discipline and encouraged behavior that their society could not accept. Their authority allowed them to turn these beliefs into law, creating one of the most unusual bans in American history. This period shows how powerful ideas can become when backed by legislation. It also shows how difficult it is to control traditions that hold deep meaning for people. The conflict between authority and culture was growing stronger, and it would soon lead to another change as Christmas began its long journey back. The Christmas ban did not last forever. Even while the legislation was still in place, people continued to feel a strong connection to their old customs. Many families missed the warm meals, friendly visits, and simple joy of gathering together. These traditions were part of their identity, and no law could remove that feeling. Slowly, resistance began to grow. Some people ignored the rules quietly, while others complained openly about the strict authority that tried to control their daily lives. As time passed, the Puritan government started to lose power. New leaders had different ideas about society and religion. They believed that people should have more freedom to follow their own customs. Because of this shift, the strict rules around the holiday were not enforced as strongly as before. Eventually, the ban faded, and people began to celebrate Christmas again. At first, the celebrations were small and cautious, but gradually they became more open and joyful. By the early 1800s, Christmas began a complete transformation. Writers, artists, and community leaders helped reinvent the holiday. They created a new image of Christmas that was peaceful, family-centered, and moral. This new version was very different from the old winter festivals. That worried the Puritans. Instead of noise and excessive parties, people focused on kindness, gratitude, and quiet traditions. Families read stories together, decorated simple trees, and exchanged small gifts. During this period, the figure of Santa Claus appeared. He became a symbol of generosity and hope. The Christmas tree became popular, and many families enjoyed decorating it as a yearly custom. Shops also saw an opportunity. They began to sell special holiday goods, which connected Christmas with commerce. Over time, buying gifts became a tradition of its own. This new culture made Christmas feel modern, warm, and enjoyable for all ages. Another important change was the holiday becoming more secular. Many people celebrated it not only for religious reasons, but also for cultural and emotional ones. Christmas turned into a national tradition that everyone could enjoy, regardless of their beliefs. Old fears about disorder disappeared, replaced by a new focus on family, community, and generosity. The transformation of Christmas shows how traditions can be reinvented. A holiday once seen as dangerous became a symbol of peace and unity. The return of Christmas was not only a comeback, it was a complete rebirth. The holiday had changed in meaning, in style, and in spirit. And from that moment on, Christmas continued to grow into the celebration we recognize today. The story of the Christmas ban gives us a powerful insight into how cultures change. It reminds us that traditions are not fixed. They grow, disappear, return, and reinvent themselves as societies develop. Christmas, which was once prohibited by strict legislation, eventually became one of the most celebrated traditions in America. This transformation shows how strong customs can be, even when authority tries to control them. When we look at this history, we gain a new perspective. The Puritans believed they were protecting morality and discipline. They saw the holiday as a threat to order, but people held on to their traditions because the holiday had personal meaning. It gave them comfort during the cold winter and a chance to gather with loved ones. This conflict between authority and culture teaches us that traditions survive when they meet emotional and social needs. The Christmas ban also helps us understand how society adapts. When the old version of the holiday caused tension, people eventually created a new one. The modern Christmas, with its trees, lights, Santa, and gift giving, is an invented tradition. It shows how customs can be shaped by writers, artists, families, and even commerce. Over time, small ideas grow into large cultural movements. Now let's make a quick summary of what we learned. Christmas once looked very different from the celebration we know today. The Puritans viewed it as excessive and pagan, so they used legislation to prohibit it. The ban created fines, restrictions, and strict enforcement, but people resisted and eventually the ban disappeared. Later, Christmas was reinvented into a peaceful and family-centered tradition. Today, it is a major part of American culture. For our cognitive review, remember these key words: ban, legislation, prohibit, custom, reinvent, insight, perspective, and summary. Try practicing these words in your own sentences. Repetition will help you understand them more deeply. Thank you for exploring this surprising history with us. If you enjoyed this lesson, please subscribe and stay with us for more stories that reveal new insights about culture and the past. Merry Christmas and see you in the next video.